France is a beautiful country in Europe and is often among the top destinations for people wanting to travel around the world. However, this country that's about the same size as Texas has many mysterious places that aren't typically on your itinerary for your next vacation. From archaeological sites that are older than the pyramids to some of the strangest displays of modern art, here are strange and mysterious places in France. But first, we asked you guys if you thought Nikki Hilton was a member of the Illuminati, and most of you think that she was, especially after marrying a member of the Rothschild family. Let us know in the comments section if you've been to any of these strange places in France, and maybe we'll feature you in an upcoming video. Number 13. La Tête Carrée. Our first strange place in France is this sculpture here, in Nice, France, and it stands about 90 feet tall. It displays a person with a cubic head and a chin sticking out a little bit. I guess you can say this person is really thinking inside the box. It's not just a statue, by the way. People can actually go inside the head, so to say, and pick out books. That's right, this place is a library. Locals and tourists alike have found it to be rather intriguing, and if you get close enough, it's actually quite detailed. We're not sure exactly what the books are like in there, but this is definitely not your ordinary library. It's supported using pieces of aluminum with marble fittings. Whether it's just modern art or there's some type of hidden meaning to it, it's pretty mysterious. Number 12. The Verdun Forest. The Battle of Verdun in France was one of the longest and biggest battles during World War I, and the area is still closed off due to arsenic poisoning and undetonated explosives. This decisive moment in history would change the landscape for good, and the forest here seemed quite bizarre. It's rumored to still be littered with thousands of skeletons too. Trenches are still noticeable, barbed wire is on the ground, and artillery shells are turning to rust. Much of the forest was simply destroyed from artillery shells, and poisonous chemical weapons filled the air during this battle. This image here shows a German bunker hidden away in the forest of Verdun, and things like this certainly make the forest unsettling. Many who ventured off into the forest here still claim to feel the presence of lost spirits roaming around. Number 11. Carnac Stones, France. The stones here found near the village in Carnac, located in Brittany, date back to 4500 BC, and is often referred to as France's Stonehenge. This is just an estimate, and it's quite difficult to know the true origins. There's a total of 3,000 standing stones, and it might even look like some kind of graveyard from an aerial vantage point. It's believed that these were constructed by pre-Celtic people living in modern-day France. Legends about this site state that the wizard Merlin turned Roman soldiers into stone that were marching towards their settlement. It's hard to say exactly what these were used for. Some believe they had some kind of astrological significance, while others believe they were structures for storing sheep. Number 10. Barnonnet, France. Another prehistoric monument constructed in Brittany in France. This is considered to be the oldest megalithic monument in Europe and in all the world. Radiocarbon dating seems to prove evidence that it actually dates back to 4850 BC. The site was excavated between 1954 and 1968. While the stones aren't quite as large as some of the other ones we've mentioned, it's still standing today, and it's older than the pyramids of Giza by at least 2,000 years, which is quite impressive. It reaches about 29 feet tall and contains 6 chambers, and some contain ancient pots, stone axes, and arrowheads. Some believe it might have been used for some type of funerary structure, giving it the nickname the Prehistoric Parthenon. Number 9. Catacombs. When you come to Paris for its romantic settings, you should probably keep in mind that below the ground it's often referred to as l'Empire de la Mort. In English, that means the Empire of Death. In any case, in the southern part of Paris, in Montparnasse, is where you'll find the catacombs. After the collapse of Paris's largest cemetery in the 1600s, they decided to go further underground with their burial techniques, and the catacombs were born. There are over 200 miles of underground tunnels here, and only a small section is open to the public. There's an estimated 6 million people buried at these catacombs, which is easily 1 billion bones. Number 8. Condom, France. French lovers play it safe in this city. With other cities out there getting kind of dirty, the city of Condom is becoming quite a popular sight to see, but maybe not for everyone. People have it plotted out on their maps far ahead in advance to get a photo with the popular sign. The word condom actually comes from the Gaulish word condate magnos, which translates roughly to market lands. There's quite a few historical sites here, and they're well known for their production of cognac brandy. This strangely named southwestern city also has a famous statue of the Three Musketeers. Although the French word for condom is préservatif, some other cities have refused to associate with them because of their embarrassing name in English. Number 7. Arriva La Hague. What might appear to be a medium-sized city at first glance on the Cherbourg Peninsula is actually a very large nuclear fuel reprocessing site. And then as you zoom in, you can actually see it's partially censored. You can tell it's showing an older part of the plan here, and much of it has been pixelated. But could there be other reasons why this place is partially censored on Google Maps? They seem more than willing to accept large amounts of radioactive waste from other countries. Surrounded by barbed wire fence, you might think it's a prison at first. However, this plant has stored water that's been used at nuclear power plants and it recycles it into fuel. They've even been willing to take depleted uranium from unused nuclear weapons. There's been much controversy about this place when Greenpeace began drawing attention to the radioactive pollution that it was giving off into the air and to the nearby English Channel. They also claim to be making what's known as MOX fuel, which will process other nuclear power generation, but many are quite certain that it will increase the possibility of more countries obtaining nuclear weapons. Number 6. Le Pouce. After seeing this statue, don't you guys feel like giving this video a thumbs up? Can you guess what Le Pouce means in French? If you guessed thumb, good job. This 40-foot statue in Paris was built in 1965, and the meaning behind it is still unknown. Built in La Défense work district, some claim it represents the thumb of the artist Cesare Baldacchini. But could this 40-foot tall bronze statue actually represent something else? Was the sculptor really just into his thumb that much that he decided to enlarge it thousands of times its original size, then put it in a corporate area? Or is there some hidden meaning in this strange statue, or is it just that simple? Let us know in the comment section. Number 5. Helio Dome. Finally, evidence of a real UFO crashing onto Earth's surface. At last, we finally have definitive proof. Or is it just another strange building found in France? The Helio Dome was completed in August of 2011 in Cross-Willer, eastern France. It's actually designed as an enormous three-dimensional sundial, but it was also designed for people to live here. It was made of wood, glass, and concrete and captures solar energy, which saves them a bundle on electricity. It also provides them with free heating during winter and natural cooling during summer. Could our homes of the future possibly look like this? Number 4. The Mont SaintMichel. Located between the two regions of Brittany and Normandy is a medieval monastery that holds strategic fortifications for anyone considering an invasion on the French. Completely surrounded by water when the tide is high, it's a pretty difficult place to launch an all-out siege on, and the British during the 100 Years' War will tell you that this is true. Pilgrims tended to come here during low tide, which opens up a pathway to enter Le Mont SaintMichel. Getting here and back was often a pretty big challenge, and the soil that was exposed from low tide would often act like quicksand. It's a fairly recognizable landmark in France, and roughly 3 million visitors come here each year. Today, this huge structure is said to be haunted by the ghost of Louis d'Estourville, who started commanding at this location in 1434. A fierce lord, Louis d'Estourville led the killing of 2,000 Englishmen during the 100 Years' War. According to legend, the sand of the island was completely red from blood on that day. The spirit of Louis is said to still roam the Mont SaintMichel ever since as its protector. Number 3. The Ideal Palace. Also known as Le Palais Ideal, this building was built in the French city of Haute-Rive by a postman named Ferdinand Cheval. It's also an extraordinary example of artistic architecture. He spent years of his life picking up stones from the ground that he found during his mail routes in order to build this masterpiece. Why work as a mailman when you have so much talent as a sculptor? The design was inspired by both Hindu and Christian styles, and he was hoping to be buried in this palace. When he found out that this wouldn't be allowed, he built a mausoleum for himself at the Haute-Rive Cemetery. Number 2. The Grotte de Massabielle. Although it's not a huge cave, it's been the location for quite a few mysterious events within the past couple centuries. It's now the site of a mass pilgrimage among Catholics. Located in Lourdes, France, there have been over 18 apparitions of the Virgin Mary here, and some also believe that they may have discovered miracle healing water at this location. The first to have seen the apparition of the Virgin Mary was Bernadette. At the age of 14, Bernadette was gathering firewood here, and she continued having visions of a woman in white nearly each time she went. She stuck consistently to her story, and many believe that she was telling the truth. She later dug a well to gather water from this area, which is now considered to be sacred. Now each year, 5 million people come to Lourdes to drink the water, visit the basilica, and see the cave where the sightings took place. Many stay hopeful that the water will cure their ailments, and after scientific studies on it, they may have determined that the water here actually is extremely pure. Number 1. Oradour-sur-Glane. Oradour-sur-Glane was a small French city near Limoges that was nearly destroyed during World War II. During the D-Day invasion of Normandy, an armored panzer division was ordered to head north to stop the Allied assault. A group of the French resistance was stationed at this city, and they tried their best to intercept the counterattack. They put up a good fight, but it clearly wasn't good enough. The Germans also believed that one of their commanders was being held hostage here, and in exchange for 30 civilians of the town being held hostage, they wanted their commander back. But something didn't go quite right during this negotiation, and the entire city was razed. The French thought about rebuilding the city, but Charles de Gaulle didn't want to. He preferred the ruins of the town to be left this way so that it would show how brutal the Germans were.